So, what I would love to do is talk briefly about what we are doing, and then if there are any questions, just raise your hand and we will try to answer all of those questions. So I think for us as a company, Johnson&Johnson, it's important. We look at the life of people. We want to improve the lives of people. And today, every day, we try to improve about 1 billion people's lives. So every day we touch about 1 billion people around the globe, which is not enough. So 1 billion is not enough. We want to do much more. And that drives us. And I think the only way to do that is through innovation. You know, maybe we are in pharma, we are in medical devices and in consumer. So I'm in consumer, and I have some colleagues here also working in consumer who speak Portuguese. So if you like to speak Portuguese to some people, there are some people over here. And in consumer, we also realize that we have a couple of things to do, and innovation is very important. So what we want to do is to make sure that people live longer. And not just live longer, but also live better. And that there is people feel better as well, and try to go for prevention. And we even have the ambition to go to a world without disease, which is very ambitious, I know, but I think there are many steps we can take together to get much closer to that. And innovation is the key for that. And innovation means for us working with other companies, working with startups, working with universities, try to get ideas from externally into our organization and work together to make it happen. So in Brazil, we are already for many, many years. For more than 80 years, Johnson&Johnson is in Brazil. And it's really interesting to see that our biggest investment, our biggest site is in Brazil, worldwide. So it's not in China, not in the US. It's the largest industrial site, which is in San Jose, the campus, close by. And we have a lot of people working there. We have a lot of scientists working there, over 200 R&D scientists working there. And it's a great place to be. I've been there the last few days, and it's really impressive. And we invest there heavily, and we do a lot of R&D, and we also bring quite some products to the market. In some cases, the Brazil team is doing this for the global products. So we are here in Brazil responsible for sun care, for feminine care, and we do this for the whole world. If you look back, we exist over 130 years as a company, and we want to live another 130 years or even longer. And we have a history of innovations. I will not go into this, but if you go back many years, we came up with many new innovations. And that's also the way we want to go forward. And we're looking at real game-changing innovations. So for us, it means that we will not copy anybody, because that's an incremental innovation. We want to go for the breakthrough. We want to look for completely new opportunities. And I saw already some of them potentially in this environment. So who knows? And you may know a few brands of us. I think Neutrogena is a very famous, Tylenol, Listerine. Band-Aid, of course, and there are some more, I would say, local brands like Carefree, which we also sell in the Brazilian market. I think Aveeno is now coming to the market here, and some other brands are coming. So most of these brands are bigger than 1 billion. So it's pretty big brands. And as I said, we are looking at game-changing innovations. And you know, there are different types of innovation. There's a lot of incremental innovation. And I must be careful what I say, because incremental innovation is important. And as a large company, we need a lot of incremental innovation to keep our market share, which means a new fragrance, a new color, a new ingredient. Really important, because consumers are also conservative. many consumers are conservative. So there are many consumers who would say, I want something I had last year, and this is more or less the same, so I want to buy this, and which is great. But if you want to grow as a company, if you want to reach many more people, if you want to improve the lives of more and more people, you need game-changing innovations. And game-changing, what we mean is sometimes a completely new business model, or a new technology, or a combination of those things. And think about, and I will show you an example of what we did. We came up with a light-based device to treat acne. So acne typically is treated by a lotion or cream, and we found a way to do it completely different. And I'm going to talk about it in a second. And the problem, to be honest, if you're a large company like ours, it's very difficult to create new game changers and to bring them to the market, because many people are focusing on the short term, try to sell many things today, tomorrow, and things which come from, I would say, game changers, they typically take much longer to bring to the market. They need a new business model. They may need a new distribution channel, new sales, different kind of people who understand what needs to be done. So there's an interesting dynamics in a company like ours, but in many large companies, and I'm not sure other people of large companies here or have been there, but it's quite of a challenge. At the same time, it's a lot of fun if you make it happen. So we're going to make it happen. So looking at innovation, what we do as a company, I think it's important to understand that we are trying to be different than some of our competitors. I think we as a company are always looking at the science. We are science-based. We look at the proof that something works. We also look at the clinical efficacy. So if we sell something and we make a claim around that and say, hey, this helps to get rid of acne, we know it works. And that's different. We make it difficult for ourselves sometimes, because if you would do it, say, wow, it might work for acne, wow, then people still buy it maybe, but that's not who we are. We want to have the proof that it works, which makes it more difficult for us. But in the end, if it works, it really works, so people will be helped and their life will become much better. And that's also, I think, the dialogue we will have with startups. So the way we act with startups is also around this. Show us that it works. Make sure the science is right. Not just marketing. It should be a real story, it should be real proof, and that's the kind of dialogue we will have. So whenever you have your ideas ready, come to us for that. And we believe in collaboration. So for us, collaboration is normal. So I think what we have said very clearly as part of who we are, part of what we want to do, part of our strategy is we want to co-create. We want to co-create with the world. And whether it's in Brazil or Argentina or Indonesia or China or the US, we don't care. So we are looking for opportunities. We are looking for those innovations which help us to create something which is much better than is on the market today. And the reason we want to co-create is also because we have strong competence ourselves. We have strong science, we have great access to consumers, we have strong brands, we have clinical evidence, we have whatever. We have great competence ourselves, and we want to combine them with the strengths of other companies or universities or startups. And we have a lot of examples of that, and I will not have time to go to all of them, but I will talk about a few. And of course, if you want to look for those startups, those ideas, it means that you have to look for them. And it's not easy, because the world is pretty big. Brazil is big, but the world's even bigger, so we need to find them. So we have people here in the region, we have people in Europe, we have people in Asia and the US, and they're all looking for those opportunities. And then when we have done these opportunities, we need to find out, does it work? Do we find ways to combine the technology? Is there a need for consumers? And is there the right business model in place? So if you combine all those three, then we move forward. And then we need to de-risk. So what we typically try to do is to find a way to de-risk the solution. And that can be done in many ways. So I will give you some examples about it. And then, of course, we need to deliver. And this is, for us as a company, more and more important. We are open for new business models. And as Johnson&Johnson, we typically sell whatever, a bottle with something, and if it's empty, people buy a new one, which is great, which is a very nice business model. But we're moving now also more and more into areas where we say, well, we could do much more. We could do much more. Suppose we go into personalization. So we would like to understand, for instance, your skin or your hair, and your hair is different than my hair, so why do we buy the same products? Why not get specific products for your skin and the place you are today instead of tomorrow? If you're today in Brazil and tomorrow in the US, your skin will be different, your hair will be different, so why use the same kind of products? That kind of personalization requires also completely new business models. Are people willing to pay for that, yes or no? Is it a service, is it advice, is it a product, is it a mix of things? I don't know. We're very open to do that. But we need to find those business models. Let me take you to two examples, and let me start with the mask. This is a light-based mask, which is brought to the market in the US in December and will come to other parts of the world later this year, I think in second quarter and third quarter. And this is, I think if you look at YouTube, you see beautiful movies, and I should have put some more movies in this one. But it's a mask, light-based, LED, two different kind of wavelengths, blue and red. And the LEDs have different functionalities. One light is really taking away it's cleaning the face, and the other one's going into the body and killing the bacteria. It works. It works really well, and it's also a completely new way, as I say, a game changer. Nobody has this yet. So we bring this to the market. And the way we did this is really interesting. So we found a startup. We were looking for them, and we found them somewhere in 2014. And they said, hey, this is interesting. This is interesting. And we didn't know whether it would work. So we invested in that company, took some of their shares, in this case. We have other models, but we took some of the shares. And with the money, we said, would be great if you could do three things. Make sure it works, show the clinical evidence, show that it works, show that acne goes away if you use this. Sell it to consumers, make sure that people want this. And third, get the regulatory approval, what is called 510K in the US, for the FDA to make sure that it can be brought to the market. And we did not leave them alone. We helped them in the 510K, in the regulatory. We gave them the protocol to do clinical testing. And we looked over their shoulders, and whatever was needed, we helped them. So they did it. They got the 510K. They did the clinical, and they got promising results and good results. And they sold it to consumers. They even went to Telcel in the US as a television program that people buy something. Okay, it's not what we do typically, but it worked, and they went to Walmart and to some other place, and it worked. So 1 year later, in September 2015, we decided to buy the whole company. So we bought the assets, the IP. We didn't buy the people. We left them alone. We kept them separate, and we made sure that the team was working with our team to bring it to a product for J&J under Neutrogena, one of our brands. And we had to do some changes. We had to arrange the manufacturing and supply chain and all kind of things. And we were able to do that within 12 months. which is for a large company like ours pretty fast, especially because it's a complete new device, and we've never done devices before in the consumer business. So we were able to launch this in 2 years, more or less, from the first investment till the launch. And that's just one model. Let me take a look at the other model, which is it's completely different, and I have a few more examples later. This is Band-Aid, which is one of our famous products, one of our famous brands. And I think what we were doing in the US typically, where we were putting Band-Aids in the market, but we did not innovate too much. We only came up with very small incremental innovations. And competition came in and did the same things, and maybe even put a lower price on that, and we're taking away our market share. So we were talking to the big retailers. I said, why are you not putting our products on the shelf? And they say, yeah, you don't innovate enough, which is interesting signal. We didn't want to hear that, by the way, in the beginning, but okay. We listened very carefully, and then we went to a company and we worked with them to co-create completely new ideas. And the first product which came out was a sort of Band-Aid which you put on a wound, and then you can still be in the shower. So typically, if you have a wound and you're not allowed to make it wet, you stand like this under the shower, or you put a plastic bag around that, which is not ideal. So we have been able to develop a complete new solution which you can put on your wound and then be under the shower. We worked with this company, we co-created this idea, and then they did most of the work afterwards. And within 9 months, we had this on the market. And typically, it would take us much longer if we would have done it alone. And by bringing these innovations, this was one of the innovations, we brought more and more now together with them to the market. It's another example of how we collaborate, how we co-create with companies. So, if you want to find out where the innovation is, you need to be there. So we have what we call innovation centers in San Francisco, in Boston, in London, and in Shanghai. And they work, they are in the ecosystems. There are a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of technologies in Boston area, in the greater London area, in Asia, of course. And we have people sitting there, and they work. So, for instance, the people in Shanghai also have people in Korea, Japan, and Singapore, and India to make sure that even Australia, to look at everything what is happening over there. And we started with that in 2013, and we looked almost to 4,000 opportunities. And many of them, of course, were not leading to something, to anything. But we invested in more than 200 collaborations, which is pretty impressive, I must say. And these teams are about 30 people in such an innovation center. They can make deals really fast. So we have deals which we made in 2 weeks, including the legal things, the contracts, including everything, the negotiation. And it's not a secret if I tell you that if you would do it entirely via the headquarters, it might take a little bit longer sometimes. But they can do it really fast because they have lawyers, they have transaction people, they have venture people, they have alliance people. They can do this, which is really exciting. And if you ever in one of those locations, just go there and knock on the door and say, hey, can I come in and have a chat and see what is happening? Really, really intriguing. And many of these people have the mindset of deal making. And the funny thing is that once they make a deal, they also stay involved. So it's not like typically acquisition people, which make a deal and then go to the next deal, go to the next deal. These people stay involved to make sure that the startup or the investment or the collaboration becomes successful. And another thing we have done as the company is we invested in what we call J-Labs. not sure you heard about JLabs yet, but JLabs is a sort of an incubator. So far, it's mainly in North America. We have one in Toronto, a few in California, in Houston, in New York City will be one, and in Boston. And we open the doors. There are about 25 spots for startups, and they can make use of all the latest equipment like DNA sequencing, 3D printing, wet chemical, dry chemical labs, whatever is needed. Startups can make use of that. And the only thing they do is they pay a rent. And there are no strings attached. There's no commitment at all to J&J. There is no need that the startup will start working with us. No way. It's completely free to see what they're going to do. And all these startups get a lot of coaching and mentoring, not only from us, but also from other companies. And maybe over time it turns out that there is a collaboration possible, yes or no. And if you look at the top 25 biotech startups in 2016, 4 of them came out of JLabs. 4 out of the 25, which is really interesting. It's a high score, I would say. So we are very critical on what kind of startups are there. We don't allow, for instance, companies which working on electrical vehicles or on whatever kind of things, which are not in the end interesting for J&J. So we're very strict, but once you're there, almost all of them are making huge progress. And when they get too big, when they get to 5, 6, 7 people, we typically ask them to leave because we don't have enough space for them. And that's good because they have this reputation. We've done JLabs and now we go to something else. And I think what these innovation centers are doing, they are reaching out to universities. They're reaching out to startups. They're reaching out to governments. They're reaching out to incubators. And try to be there and talk about what we are looking for and make connections. And we hope to find early stage opportunities. And then we co-create with them, we work with them to make them better and bigger and more beautiful. Yeah, so this is the JLabs. Again, if you are a startup and you're interested, just let us know. There might be opportunities. We do regular cycles of selection. New York City was just announced early January. It will open next year. But all the other ones are up and running. And some of them are full, but there is always a list of new companies which we believe would benefit from going there. And we did, as part of this Open 100 Startups, we also did an innovation challenge around aging population. And we are also looking at getting a winner into a JLabs. So that would be, I think, for us, really great opportunity. So I think what I would like you to go away with, if there is something you want to remember after this presentation, that we try to be acting as a small company instead of as a large company. So we try to be agile, we try to be nimble, we try to be looking for what is needed. If you want to make a deal, we as consumer did 12 deals last year and all deals were completely different. Which means that we are able to find whatever is needed. So we, for instance, have a collaboration with a company, and they needed access to Walgreens and CVS, the pharmacies in the US, because they want to test out new products. They had no access, so we helped them to get access and to get it into the market. Some other companies we work with, they need clinical evidence, so we work with them to do the clinical trial. And use the protocols we typically use, and to make sure that there is evidence that it works or not. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We have companies which need money, so sometimes we invest in them. Sometimes we do joint development agreements. sometimes we offer also an interesting opportunity. So for instance, with biomedics. Biomedics is an accelerator in Germany, in Heidelberg. And we work with them because we had a problem we couldn't solve ourselves. So it's about in your mouth and on your teeth you have biofilm. Everybody has it, whether you like it or not, it's there. And we believe and we know that if you reduce the biofilm or break away the biofilm, the health of your teeth gets better. So we typically, of course, have our Listerine products, and if we find ways to reduce or remove the biofilm, then Listerine could even be more effective than it already is today. But we don't know how that exactly works. The science is not there yet. So what we did, we worked with biomedics and asked them to help us. So they sent out this question to over 3,000 of their partners around the globe, professors, postdocs, universities, startups, and almost 340 people responded and said, hey, I think I know how to do this. So we asked them to write a brief description of how they think they're going to solve it. Out of those ideas, we selected 15, and they came to Heidelberg for a full week of boot camp. And at the end of the week, we selected 3 people, and those 3 people came from completely different directions. They didn't know each other before, and they are working now for 3 years for us, for J&J, on this project. And it's really exciting because we get the best scientists from all over the world. One was from Russia, the other one was from Germany, and the third one was from Australia. Get them all together, and we would never have been able to find them. And they're going to work now for 3 years on our project, which is another model of co-creation, I would say. So, summarize. We are looking for game changers. We are looking for game changers in the area of feminine care, for baby, for beauty, for skin, for pain, for sleep, for aging population. So if you have ideas, just let us know. We are a company which makes a lot of deals with startups, and we look always for the win-win. It's not that we get a big win and the small company gets a small win. That's not what we aim for, because we have learned that that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So small companies can go to other companies as well, and we want to be the partner of choice. And we can do different kind of models. We have many examples where we find the right way to do this. So if you have any ideas, just let us know. Also, if you have any questions, just let us know. There are some people who speak Portuguese, or some people speak English. All of them speak English. More than welcome to reach out, and we very much look forward to the dialogue. Obrigado.